Alrighty, so we are back, and today we are going to be doing a tier list of sorts, and this one is going to be for the scope of TURs. Now, I could wait until the Trunks EZA, but if I had to guess with how that character is, he would go anywhere in between great and best with how they've kind of handled TURs this year. The odds of him being indecent, I think, are pretty low, but I guess they're not impossible for him to be down there. But this is what I want to do today, right? We're just not going to be many characters in the decent tier, but we have a lot of different shifts and stuff like that. Now, this tier list in specific doesn't have like the exact Android 16, the AGL one on it, but that's all right. We'll just use this one. It'll be fine, right? So let me know down below what you guys think, who are your favorite TURs and stuff like that. And before we get into this, as always with the tier list videos, the case is going to be the same as it usually is. So keep in mind that this is just my opinion, and things can change at the drop of a hat, right? Could be tomorrow, an event drops, right? And all of a sudden, the meta shift is completely different, and we have to completely adjust the list. But as of December 4th, 2025, this is going to be my opinion. And if you disagree with somebody in the comment section, please be respectful with them. If you want to make fun of somebody and say their list sucks, make sure it's me. Right. So just keep that in mind. Be considerate of others. That's how I always like to do these. And again, it's not a de facto, I know exactly what I'm talking about, my opinion is exactly correct. Right. So just keep that in mind. And one other thing is this is meant to be more of a general snapshot of characters that players should be focusing on getting finished and things like that. So without further ado, if I'm missing anybody, let me know in the comment section below and I will tell you where I would put them. And let's go ahead and get started. We will work from the bottom to the top. So right off the bat, we have Scouter Vegeta here, and we are going to put him in the decent tier, right? This is the Dirty Fireworks Namek Vegeta. With Dirty Fireworks Namek Vegeta, this is a character here who I think is decent, right, as the tier would state. But to me, he's really only useful for one thing, and that is going to be the Festival of Battles. With his orb changing and with his ability to get stronger with the amount of orbs that he is getting, you are going to be able to find a decent usage with this character. And you guys sort of understand how he works at this point. He is very good for the extreme AGL portion of the Festival of Battles mission. One of the better options if you don't have somebody like Goma. That is really going to be one of your better options. So I do think this is a decent character, right? Leader skill isn't great and things like that, but overall he can get the job done for you in multiple facets of the game. So decent is where I'm going to put him. And the same is going to be said here for our boy Exchange Boo. Now I think Exchange Boo is pretty good, but I don't know how far up I want to put him at this point. Very relegated to being ran with Majin Power characters just for his early onset damage reduction. And then you are really looking to get him into that second phase or second transformation where you are in the Evil Boo portion of the character. I think that's really where you're going to see the most out of this character with his dodging, with his damage reduction, with his ability to seal. All of these different things are going to work out pretty well for him. So a character that I just noticed that I missed off the top here is STR Omega. Now that I'm looking, is he just not here? STR Omega. Is he just not on this list? No, he is not. Yeah, no physical Omega or no STR Omega. This one, I gotta start making my own tier lists, dude. Like, cause it's like, so STR Omega, we'll talk about him towards the end, right? I don't know why, he's just not here. So when we look at this right here, again, I think that Boo is decent, but that's really as high as I can put him. Now, Kale and Caulifla. I think they would go in the good tier. I do think that they are good, but to say they are great, I don't know about that, right? They do have the good damage reduction and, or the dodging, excuse me, with their setup, and they're also very good for stacking in the Festival of Battles, but they don't have like that elite tier viability in like all forms of content, especially with like GDC power creep and things like that. Not really going to be a character where you're just using them all the time, but they can be a nice fill-in on a lot of teams that could use the help. So you at least have that going for them, right? They are a good character, but I wouldn't say like they're top 10 or anything like that. And that is sort of just where I feel about them right now. Next up, we got our boy Goku here. Now, unfortunately, I think he does have a little bit more offensive like priority than Vegeta does. So I'm going to put him in good, and then we'll just put Vegeta up here in great. I don't think Vegeta is really going to be fitting the bill for the best category, but I do think he is very, very good. Right, with his rainbow orb changing ability, the buffs that he's getting with those rainbow orbs, the way that he's going to be working out on a team like GT Heroes or Giant 8 Power, it just ends up working out very well for this Vegeta. And Goku is going to sort of be in that same spot where if you need like an event where you have to have like super offense and you want to build like a nuking setup, that this Goku is going to be working out pretty well in that nuking format, right? But again, it's just not going to be like most content. You're not setting up that Goku to go in slot 1 and be like a nuking option for you, right? So Again, a good character, but I'm not going to put him much higher than that. So I do think that both of these guys are like pretty good units, but again, they're not just like outright amazing. And the same thing is going to be said for PyCon as well as Janemba. I think they are very good supports. PyCon has his viability with the Ghost Usher, and again, the support is really what you're looking for here. I don't think that they are great by any stretch of the imagination, so we're just going to put them in good. I think they're better than these two, but I also don't think they are at the top tier of the game. With Goku and Gohan from the Cell games, where do I want to put them? I'm going to put them in good. They have a very frustrating mechanic here where you want them to super before they're getting their dodge and whatnot. So that's really what it comes down to. I think they're a good unit, but they're not going to be great. And the same thing is going to be said here for this Path to Power Kid Goku. Decent damage reduction, the damage reduction support, and then also can kind of hold his own offensively, has like an okay unit super condition and things like that. But overall, you're not going to like be getting the absolute most out of that character. But again, he is pretty good. Now, another option here for gray is going to be our boy Buhan, right? Buhan, I think, is very good, but the thing is just the numbers with like GDC content have really, really spiked. And that does make things a little bit trickier for, you know, why can't I talk all of a sudden? The characters like this Buhan, where you're just going to need a little bit more defensively from this guy, where supers are going to be a problem for this character, but with that being said, they work out very well on like the Omega Shenron team, on a Majin Power setup, on a Majin Buu team, right? Power absorption, all these different categories. This is a very good unit. They're just the power that they are gaining from having rainbow orbs and things like that is just immense. And you're really going to notice how well this character can perform in a situation that is good for them. But again, I don't think they are worthy of that best in the game tier anymore. That isn't to say that they are bad by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think that their time as like the #1 TUR in the game, unfortunately, has passed. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's just that's how this game operates, where units get better and worse over time, and sometimes it's just going to happen. So, you know, I do think that Buhan is good, and for a Super Easy A, this character is going to hold it down pretty well, but I don't think I'm willing to put him in best. And the same thing is going to be said here for AGL Vegito Blue. Now, or AGL, excuse me, I'm thinking about Rosé, but Physical Vegito Blue. Physical Vegito Blue, they did give a huge workaround to one of his biggest flaws, and that was the fact that he had a lot of problems with supers, but now he can kind of work around that, right? Very good damage and attack with his counters and his additional supers and the crits that he has. Really can kind of build up defensively nice, and is also going to have that 2-turn superclass support. So this is a guy that you can run on a team where you're going to float him, and he's going to work out just fine for you. I do think he is one of the better TURs in the game right now, and with that support and with his damage and things like that, it really is going to add up. Now, AGL Rosé, I do think is a bit of a toss-up. I struggle to think like where I want to put this unit, but I think I'm going to put him in great, because best to me is reserved for like 5 characters, I think. But I do really like this AGL Rosé on the Omega Shenron team, on a Super Bosses team, right? Future Saga, Time Travelers, all of the ones that you want to put on that list. You could just go ahead and throw Rosé Goku Black on this team, and he is going to work out pretty well, right? With his offense, is just all right, but defensively and his support for these extreme class characters, he's going to help bathe the team in the support, like Omega Shenron is doing, and things like that. Like, this character just has so much good stuff going on for them that I do believe that gray is probably going to be a good spot for this unit. And the same thing could be said for both of these Cell characters, and this Cell is going to be towards the back half of the great tier, even though these tiers are not ranked, but you know, people don't hear that part. So with Tech Cell, Rainbow Orbs, healing, the extra damage reduction, things like that, the capability of where he can go, going to work out very well. And with 16 being added to the game, this Cell's value is only going to go up. I think that this unit has a lot of good things going on, and he just works out very well. Next up, we have Int Fat Boo. You guys know how we feel about Int Fat Boo on this channel. The ageless wonder, if you will. Can always have his utility if you want to put him in. Like, if we're talking about 3-turn content, he goes up here. If we're talking about other things where you need damage, he goes down here. But overall, this guy is just time proof with his revival, with his Ghost Usher. You guys know how he works at this point. We've been talking about him on the channel for a very long time now. But in Fat Boo, still going to be great. I really don't see him moving from that tier almost ever. Next up, right? AGL Kid Goku. Best, I kind of want to put him up there, but I'm not quite going to do it. Festival of Battles, really good short form content, very risk reward, but he is one of the better characters in the game right now. I think that for the sake of the TURs, he is extremely, I feel like this is kind of a slept on TUR to an extent, right? I really do like what this kid Goku brings to the table with his ability to stack and the additional supers that he's doing. But again, he has a nice leader skill, but it's just not quite on the level of like a Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku, unfortunately. Still a very good TUR, but we had, Golden Week, we had GDC, we had TDC, right? All of these different celebrations have sort of power crept him a little bit. So his usability in like every version of the game or every form of content is not quite going to be there. But this is still a very, very impressive character who you should be putting on teams if you have the ability to. But that does not mean that I'm going to put him in the best tier. But again, I do think he is very, very good. Not much to complain about whatsoever with this character, but I'm not going to put him in the best tier. Now, next up is the newest TUR to the game that is not an easy A, and that is going to be Android 16. I think Android 16 is immensely impressive, and I think his team still needs a bit of work to get to where it needs to be. But I'm sure you guys understand how this character works at this point, right? Very, very nice character who I think they did a very good job of designing. And the same thing could be said for Super Baby 1 on something like a GT Boss's setup or a Corroded Body and Mind. They've done a very, very nice job with how they've designed Super Baby 1, Super Baby 2. These are just characters that end up working out extremely well. The tech androids, this unit is also going to be going up in the best. I think this EZA has been absolutely incredible. I like what they did with him, or with them, excuse me. They still have their Ghost Usher. They hit a lot harder. They've got dodge chance, right? They got extremely good power creep, and the EZA is definitely worthy of being in that upper echelon of TURs right now. So do keep that in mind. I think they are very, very good, and this is going to be a first for the channel. And Glorio, I am not going to be putting in the best tier of TURs. But with that being said, I still think he is absolutely incredible, and I love this character. But I think that right now I'm just not going to quite be putting him in the best tier because there's just a few criterion that you need to meet in order for him to be up in the best tier. And Glorio, I just don't think meets that. But everything you're looking for from Glorio, he is going to be able to do to an excellent regard. Has dodge ability. No, we're going to put him up here. I just don't see a reason not to. I like Glorio too much. He's been too good for me. Yamcha. He is relegated to short form content with his dodging, but I think he is very, very good. You can run him in most of the modern day content, and he's going to do pretty well for you. And the same thing can be said for Piccolo here. I think just on the offensive side of things, he doesn't have enough going for him to be quite in the best, but when it comes to great TURs, he is definitely one of them. And now we have Texin Shenron, who is going to be working out very, very well in terms of some of the best TURs in the game. I really like the way that he pairs up with LR Omega Shenron, has very good damage reduction, very easy for him to get his orbs. You're going to be doing a bunch of additional supers. That first turn, he's going to be tanking extremely well, and this character certainly holds it down for us. Next up is AGL Cell, our boy AGL Cell. Same thing, right? Works out well on the androids team. Not quite in the best TUR tier, but I think he is very good. And we could say the same thing for Hit. Don't think he's quite in the best tier, but he does work in most forms of content. Mercenary Tao, we are also going to be putting in the great tier. I think that you could argue him in best, but not quite. And last but not least for the great tier, we're going to have Super Saiyan 3 Goku with his ability for short form content. And now we have made it to the final stretch of 4 here for the best TURs in the game. Now, the first character we're going to be talking about is Kid Gohan. Very good unit on demonic power, got the support that we were looking for with him, the defensive stacking, his offensive output is okay, but the role that he is trying to fulfill on the team, he does very well, and there's not much to complain about for how this unit is set up. He was exactly what the demonic power team needed in terms of a nice support that is also going to be able to stack, right? In the Festival of Battles, this guy is basically invincible if you get him stacked up, and he's going to work out very nicely. Next up on the list is Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. This guy on the GT Heroes team, the Fuse Fighters team, any team you're really throwing him on, you toss him as a floater, he's going to be working out very well. If you need him in slot 1 on that first turn, you can put him there because of his damage reduction right off the bat, and he can also counter supers, which is extremely, extremely important. And you guys just know how impressive he can get with his offensive raising and stuff like that. You know, if you get him on a proper situation, he is hitting extremely hard. And then last but not least, we have the 2 best in the game. So it is very dominated by Super Saiyan 4 right now. But this is basically how the tier list is going to look at this point, right? A lot of really good TURs, a lot of characters in this great tier. If you want to move this guy up, or you want to move them up, or if you want to move them up, I think that's fine. But it really just kind of just depends on what you were looking for. You could even really do this if you wanted to. But right now, this is how I'm feeling. So let me know down below what you guys think. I think this video probably could have been longer, but we'll keep it around 15 minutes. I think you guys kind of get the idea. So this is the tier list right now. Let me know what you guys think down below. Keep in mind, this version of 16 is the Dokkan Fest, and then STR Omega Shenron would also be on this list if he was on the specific thing. I just did not have the asset in the specific thing in the tier list, so just keep that in mind. So Tech or STR Omega Shenron would be going in probably the best tier or the great tier. Very, very good TUR. So I really like this unit. Let me know down below what you guys think. Did I miss anybody here that you guys would put on here for this specific list for the best TURs right now? Let me know what you think down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll see you all in the next one. Love you guys.